New player action now, and new Dominaria cards. Benelish Marshal there is going to be a big one here. You can see it's in the hand as well as History of Benali, so we're going to get a look at these. It's Will McCarty on the bottom of the screen up against Bryan Scholl at the top. It's going to be this is one of the new decks from Dominaria. It's mono white aggro against a red black kind of aggro deck. You can see the Inventor's Apprentice there. Coming into this match, Bryan Scholl had a very good first week, picking up the maximum 12 points. Will McCarty, it was a bit down, he only got 4 points, so he's hoping for a better performance this week. It's still very early days, so he's going to go straight to the History of Benalia. So we can see here these sagas. The first one gets a 2/2 knight, the next step is going to be a 2/2 knight as well, and then the third step is going to pump everything to be a 2/1. Let me just adjust this. So Bryan will be looking. So here's the second one from the Benalia. It's going to put out another 2/2 knight. So Bryan at the top of the screen is going to be looking for a decent 4-drop, a Chandra or a Hazaret. You can see there the Benelish Marshal has pumped both his knights. So we've got a 3/3 and a 2/2. Pianella. So no 4th drop for Bryan. So here comes the final History of Benalia. It's going to pump all those knights. I think I would have probably played Anointed Procession there before I played that Servo Exhibition. You can see the Knight with Vigilance. It flips the Adanto, so he's going to start pumping out more creatures. So this is starting to get pretty big here. Pride of the Conquerors, and that's enough. We're going to game 2. Let me just merge. Plays another Legion's Landing. So he's got the History of Benalia again. The new decks from out of Dominaria are playing full 4 copies of this. He's got 2 options. He can Shram's Expertise into it, which would be playing off curve, or he can play it next turn. Shram's Expertise is going to enable him, playing it now is going to enable him to flip the Legion's Landing, and that's exactly what he's going to do. So, I mean, flip the Legion's Landing next turn. Two Scrap Heap Scroungers for Bryan, so he's going to be able to get in here with the Ethersphere Harvester by equipping it if he wants, but it looks like he's going to hold it back on defense. I'm surprised he didn't swing the Scrounger there because it can't block, so he wasn't interested in trading it. So here's a History of Benalia. Oh, he chooses not to pump the team. So this is going to be a huge attack next turn. History of Benalia is going to pump them all +2. Then he's got, you can see 2 Pride of Conquerors, so I think he's got lethal next turn. Here's a Chandra. I think it's not going to be enough. It's only going to be able to take down one of those creatures. You can see the red-black has no answer for enchantments. You can't remove enchantments in those colours. So here's a Servo Exhibition. So only one knight's going to get the pump. So Pride of Conquerors is going to actually pump the team here. I think Will's just doing the math to make sure he's got lethal. And everybody gets in. Only one can block. That's the Ethersphere Harvester. So he's trying to do 18 damage. Waiting to see if the Harvester is going to block. It is. He will get a lifelink here, so he's going to have to do 21 damage. 2, 4, 5. So he's got 15. Yeah, I think he's got enough to do it. I think, yeah, and so he's conceded. So we're going to Modern now, where we can see Will. So Will picks up the maximum 4 points. You can see here he is on this Eldrazi and Taxes, white-black Eldrazi and Taxes. Inkmoth Nexus. Well, the Vault Scourge confirms he's against Affinity. Arcbound Ravager, that's a problem card, but Lingering Souls is very good in this matchup. Leonin Arbiter is not going to do as much work. Or Steel Overseer is certainly something that needs to be dealt with. No cards in the graveyard here for the Wasteland Strangler to... no cards exiled for Wasteland Strangler to deal with that. Although Eldrazi Displacer is going to be very good, it can just displace whatever the Ravager and the Steel Overseer put counters on. Leonin Arbiter, the idea here is to get a Ghost Quarter and then Ghost Quarter. But an aggressive start here from the Affinity player. A little surprised there's no attacks there. See what that last card in hand is. It's a Mox Opal, which he can't play because it's legendary. But importantly, what it does is it puts in a card in exile so that Wasteland Strangler can actually take down that Steel Overseer. No choice but to take the damage here. He's going to sacrifice a flyer. I think we'll see the Steel Overseer get dealt with here. And in response, your Arcbound Ravager is going to sack it. He needs one more land to play the Displacer, and then he can also displace that Ravager to get the counters off it. Vault Scourge and Inkmoth Nexus have flying, so not much he can do there. Okay, he's found the lands. This is going to be a good turn for him. Whatever attack, I think you hold off here until you see what attacks, and then you just displace that. So Will passes the turn. Bryan now playing off the top of his deck. Welding Jar. That's one we see quite a lot in Lantern control decks. And so this is the easy play. He's going to be able to do this every turn. Just displace that Vault Scourge. Or even better, he's going to displace his own Wasteland Strangler and remove a creature. So now he's at the point where he can actually displace twice in a turn. So this is looking pretty bad for the Affinity player now. And he's seen enough. So we're going to go to game 2, and it looks like it is Will McCarty here on a roll to Ornithopters very quickly. This is the sort of start that the... Oh, no lands though. Very interesting. It's a sort of start that the Affinity player normally likes to see, just dump their hand. But he managed to keep a no-lander there. But with the Path to Exile in hand, this is again looking pretty good for... Oh, he's going to equip the Cranial Plating again, so again it's going to get the Path to Exile. This is going to find him a land. What, Will McCarty needs to find lands here because the Vault Scourge is going to fire up again, start to gain life, and Arcbound Ravager, so this is looking pretty bad now. You can see a 7-1 lifelinker getting in. One card in hand. Okay, there's a very timely removal spell. So he's going to come in. Has to pay the extra because of Thalia. And he doesn't find the other land. He's going to equip the cranial plating. Cranial plating is a massive problem here. What do you get? This is a tough one. He's gonna you have to go again the 7/1. I'm surprised he didn't use the Arcbound Ravager in response there. Galvanic Blast the Thalia. And a Galvanic Blast for the Wasteland Strangler. Equips the cranial plating. 6/1 coming in, so there's a 3-turn clock here. If you can find another. He's going to try and block the Arcbound Ravager here with the Shambling Vent. Why is he firing that Nexus up here? I'm not really sure what's going on there. I think there's a mistiming. And he trades. Oh, okay. So yeah, you can put the counter onto the Inkmoth. So he knew he was going to die at that stage. The Inkmoth here is going to have flying and infect. So Will's going to start gaining some life back. Ooh, Steel Overseer. 2/2, he's going to equip the plating. An 8/2, oh, it's a 2-turn clock. He's got a top decker removal spell or he's dead. Or a Ghost Quarter, he's dead. So we're going to game 3. So Bryan Scholl fights back in game 2 to take it and force the final game. There's the Ghost Quarter. That would have been handy in the previous match. Now Eldrazi Displacer is going to be very good in this matchup. Oh, Master of Ethereum. What does he want to do here? I think he had to play a white source there. Although he actually couldn't have activated, I believe. Path to Exile on Master of Ethereum. So Memnite, oh, the Cranial Plating. Now this was huge in game 2. He's going to be able to equip it as well, so it's a 5/1. And there's the Eldrazi Displacer, so that's the problem here. He also has a Flicker Wisp now, which without the Ether Vial is not as good. But we're going to see what's going on over the other side. Very quickly takes the Master of Ethereum. And I think this is going to be very difficult for the Affinity player now. So Volt Scourge comes in. So all cards on the table now. Cranial Plating. But this is going to be a wasted one again. You can see the 8/1, it's not going to work. Chooses to use Ghost Quarter there. And Fatal Push is a very good pickup. I might have been inclined to Fatal Push the Volt Scourge actually, and then just displaced the other flyer. He's got an Inkmoth, but you can see there's still a Ghost Quarter hanging out there for Will, so Will's got that covered. Looking very tough now for the Affinity player. Just a minor point there, but he could have displaced before declare attackers so that the Volt Scourge doesn't get the trigger. Oh, but in response you can see he equipped the Cranial Plating to the Volt Scourge. And it's actually lethal on board next turn. Yeah, I don't really understand, to be honest, how that cranial plating works. I'll have to look that up because normally you can't equip it during combat. I don't know why that can equip. So he displaces the Volt Scourge, so there's going to be no life gain this time. And here's Galvanic Blast. So there's a second cranial. Oh no, he equips a cranial plate. Okay, so there's pressure on now to find plenty of answers on Will's side, Will McCarty here. Because cranial plating is just going to town. I think you got to keep the Ghost Quarter up here. Oh. Inkmoth is going to get in and do some serious damage. And that's a nice play of the Flicker Wisp on the Wasteland Strangler. But he can fire up the Inkmoth and equip the cranial plating, and there's going to be some serious damage being done. He's at 7 life. He's going to go with the Signal Pest instead. Because he has a choice out of... I don't know if he saw that Flicker Wisp could block flyers. Okay, unless he was using it to... There's Stony Silence. Is that going to be the backbreaker? It's going to shut down the cranial plating now. In come the Knuckleheads, Ghost Quarter up for the Inkmoth Nexus, and this is looking good. I think Will McCarty's got Modern wrapped up now. Second Ghost Quarter. Yeah, highly entertaining game this one. Very to and fro, a lot of top decks from both sides. And we're on to Legacy, where Will McCarty trying to get the clean sweep. He's playing the same deck that he played last week, which is the Enchantress deck. We'll see what Bryan's on. Ponder could be anything in Legacy. Ponder into Lotus Petal tells me it's probably Sneak and Show. Solemnity making an appearance in Legacy. Just in the chat, Bryan Scholl says to him, I guess you fancy yourself as a Wesco type, huh? Because he played mono white and standard, white and modern, white black and modern, and now white green and Legacy. He says, Will McCarty responds, I don't know what that means. Yeah, he's saying he knows nothing about Legacy, so for someone that knows nothing about Legacy, I'm surprised he's picked up this Enchantress deck. And especially if he knows nothing about Legacy, he might be in for a very quick shock, because the Sneak and Show player will start to do stuff next turn. If he's got the pieces. Let's see if he does. Yep, Show and Tell. Well, there's 6 permanents on the board. Okay, so he sneaks in a Grizzlebrand, so he doesn't have the Emrakul just yet. Sterling Grove. Unfortunately, I didn't look this up and see what it does. Well, Caracas will be a good one. I would have gone to Caracas because you can shut down the Grizzlebrand there. I think that's a massive misplay there from Will McCarty. Caracas would have bounced Grizzlebrand back to hand. You can see here Bryan Scholl had started the turn of 19 cards in hand, so I don't think Will's going to get another turn in this game. Omniscience, down comes Emrakul. 22 damage about to come across, and we're going to go to game 2 in Legacy. Grizzlebrand didn't get in there, I'm not really sure what that was about. Wait, is there a... Unless one of these solitary confinements... Oh no, here we go. Now they come in. So this time we're going to go to game 2. Gaddock Teague is going to be very good to stop the... what's the card? Sneak attack, but it's not going to stop show and tell. I think he wanted a white source there, unless he's going to fetch it this time round. Just the basic plane, so here comes get it. Okay, the Enchantress first. That's if Bryan wasn't sure what deck he was up against in the previous game, he certainly knows now. Back to basics. Just gonna have a very quick look and see what this thing does. Oh, very good. Non-basic lands do not untap. He's got an Emrakul of his own there. He's going to be loath to tap that tropical island at this. Oh no, the back to basics is gone anyway. So Bryan brainstorms. He's going to have to win it here with the show and tell. He can't play the sneak attack because of Gaddock Teague. Okay, here's show and tell. This is Emrakul. I think it's over again. Oh, they both have their own Emrakul. Grizzlebrand as well. But you can see here the omniscience means that Bryan can just play spells without paying their mana cost. He goes to 1. What has he got to deal with that Emrakul on the other side? 15 cards, so he's going to draw an absolute ton here. Just passes the turn. Well, he's actually dead if... He's dead if Will just swings the Emrakul here, but Emrakul's summoning sick, so it cannot. Now he's going to wipe the permanents from the board. And it's going to be a concession.